When creating 3D art, people often ask, hey, what color is that? And what they're referring to is the diffuse color channel. A surface's diffuse color channel is the base color that shows when a pure white light strikes the surface. For example, if you're modeling a household plant or a tree or something, the leaves of that tree could possibly be green, so the diffuse color for that object needs to be green as well. Or if you're like me and you don't water the plant, maybe the leaves are brown. So what we're really looking at when we're looking at the diffuse color channel is the overall surface color of that object. As you can see in my very simple scene here, I have this groovy looking chess piece, and if you explore the shader tree, I've created a material group for all the polygons in that chess piece. So everything in that chess piece is being driven by this material right here. Now, if we look in the properties of that material, we have two channels that I want to draw your attention to. First is diffuse color. Like I mentioned, this is the default color, the skin color, if you will, of this object. Think of it as the color of a car, the paint color for that car. So if we click on any of these numbers, we're going to bring open the color picker. And let me see if I can drag it in a little bit here. There we go. So what you're being presented with at the top is a color wheel, and you can just drag your mouse wherever you want on this color wheel to pick your color. Now here's kind of a groovy little trick about the color wheel, is that we can quickly save these colors inside the interface. If you left click and drag this color swatch right here, just drag it down there to the bottom. It's going to save that color. So if you have a lot of objects in the scene that all need to have the same color, or maybe you want to have an entire library of materials at your disposal, this is a great way of saving all of your color information. Also, you can, if you have an idea of numerically of what the color is going to be, you can absolutely enter those values in, including RGB channels. I like this, hexadecimal, because we can now use letters and numbers to define our colors. This is great, especially if you're working with a web designer and you're integrating 3D graphics into the web. This is really handy to have. Okay, so let's go back and look at the other part of the diffuse color channel, which is the diffuse amount. I mentioned earlier that the diffuse color is when a light shines on the surface, and whatever reflected color comes off of that surface, that's the diffuse color. We can determine the intensity of that light. Right here, the diffuse amount is what drives the intensity of the diffuse color. So we can bring it way back down to 0% diffuse color now. At 0%, there we go. We can increase the sum to 20%, and it looks kind of generally darker. Now we can also drive this number above 100%, but you know what? I kind of recommend you don't do that. For example, let me switch this back to white here, and you'll see what I mean. So at a diffuse amount of 100, we're seeing all the details in the shadows. But if we were to drive this to like, ooh, I don't know, 200, you can quickly see that we lose all those fantastic details. We can't see the eye anymore. All those shading, all those shadows disappear. So you want to use this in moderation. In my personal opinion, I never go over 100%, but there are occasions when you need to. Let's put that back down to 100, and you can see the OpenGL preview window just fire back up pretty fast, which is kind of neat. So we have the diffuse color, which is going to establish the overall color of our object, and the diffuse amount, which is going to influence how bright that color is in the intensity of the diffuse color. So that's the diffuse channel working inside of Modo.